Before we arrive at the customer's house, we need to make sure that we're prepared. So we've got the manual, we've read and understood, because we will definitely need some gaskets, seals, or maybe some other parts. But you also need one more thing, which is the app that goes with emissions, and it's called the gas rate. And here's our version of it, and it's available from the iOS store or Google Market, Google Play, I think it's called now. So make sure you've got that, because it's crucial to make sure that the boiler is actually burning correctly. I talk regularly with the gas safe inspectors to find out what mistakes or errors that installers are doing, and perhaps we can help, which we've done for the last 18 years. But I also talk to the technical departments of all the different factories to find out the same question. And one thing that comes out is on the emission side of it. So quite a few years ago, we made this chart. And with the help of Anton and Kane analyzers, we made this into colour, and we print this in a very special plastic. So it's waterproof and a bit better than laminated or just paper. This is available from our website, mrcombi.com, in the shop. And also, our two books here on page 77 is a good example of a Worcester boiler that I installed in 2009. It's been brilliant for 6 years, but all of a sudden the readings were a little bit out, so I wondered why. And these books are available. This one is only available from our website, and this smaller book is available also from Amazon. So going back to this, so here's a cutaway, and you can see on the chart when I arrived here 6 years later, so I've been there every single year to look after it as I normally do. All of a sudden I'm seeing figures that are causing for concern. So we'll have a look at this in close-up in the next bit. We now have to do our emission tests on every single appliance, especially on these condensing boilers. And when we've got our printout, this is a giant version of what we get out of the machines, unless it's Bluetooth to your printer. And we look along the charts and we see the printouts. What we're looking for, the two most important parts, is the ratio. So we're allowed 4 parts per million, so that's 0.004, and that ends up here along this line here, which is 400 parts per million is what we load. And the other part, of course, is the ratio. So we'll look at the chart and see what it is. So as you can see on the close-up here, we've got our CO, our monoxide, at 184, which is a bit high, but still okay-ish. But when we look at the ratio, it's 1.7 parts per million, and we're allowed 4. So it's a long way down. But to be honest, for a Worcester or a top-end boiler as they are, I'm not happy. And I'm looking here down at excess air, it's only 12%. And I know from experience it should be over 20. So a quarter of the emissions should be air and 3/4 should be gas. So that's why these readings here, carbon monoxide is 184. So it's right up to here. And I'm expecting it down below. And all I've done is, what everybody should do is to read the manual for that boiler only. In there will be the guide. Now some will say after 1 year you do this, this and this and this, and after maybe 5 years you do this, this and this as well as. So they're forever changing, so don't assume because you went to one Worcester it's going to be exactly the same as all the other Worcesters, or Valent, or Viessmann, or Intergas, whatever. Read the manual for that boiler and expect to buy a gasket or any other parts that may need to be done for that servicing. But we're concentrating on the emission side of it. So always see what the target is before you turn up, and make sure you've got all the tools and all the spares that you need to do this test. And as you can see on that chart, it's a little bit way out. And if you look closely here, this is just 3 minutes later I've adjusted the emission ratios to what it should be. And we can see now the CO2 is 9.8, which is what this boiler should be, not the 10.2, which makes a larger flame and it's going dark blue. Nothing good is going to happen next year if I had left it alone. And we can see here now excess air is 21%, almost 22. But the crucial factor is, have a look at the carbon monoxide, the CO. It's dropped from 184 to 84. So we've moved from here right down to there. And this boiler is now back to its normal brilliance that it is. And we need to do this every single year on every single appliance, and that way they last much longer, they don't break down, and they give lots of years of service. But also check with the manufacturer if there are any upgrades. For example, after 5 years there's bound to be a new PCB, and that will make the boiler much better and smarter. Also, there might be a fan or a gas valve or a pump upgrade. Now's the time to do it. After 5 or 6 years, expect to pay more. We do this for a car. We have a low service, then a biggie. We always recommend here at the training centre, always assume that after 5 years, parts will need to be changed before they break down and we have a crisis on our hands. So I hope you've enjoyed the video and there's some bits of interest for you. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, that would be lovely.